Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the One QB to Rule Them All podcast, the only podcast that focuses not only on one QB leagues, but also one specific home league based out of Minnesota. I'm joined here with a mock draft with my co-host, Joe. How's it going, Joe?
Not too bad. Happy Monday.
You ready to start mock drafting for our league mates?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's share the screen and get into it. So, obviously, the first pick is mine. Bijan is my dad. Take a look at the team. Kind of a spoiler alert based on the team name, but we're set up to go hero RB with Brees Hall. Pair him up with Bijan Robinson, the 101 in Superflex leagues, but we don't care about Superflex leagues. In one QB leagues, Bijan Robinson. There's no excuse to take anyone else. With the second pick, you're picking for Matt. So this is a look at his team. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think here you just got to go with the next best guy. When I have all these prospects tiered out, I've got Bijan in his own tier, and I call that tier just the way too good tier. But I think that there's just one guy, honestly, that follows him up, and that's JSN. I think just take Jackson Smith and Jigba right there. Don't think too hard on it.
Yeah, I really love that pick. He's my 102 as well. If you look at the team, kind of set up, got good running backs, got some good young wide receivers. JSN, big knock on him coming out of college is that he's mostly a slot guy. Same thing was said about Justin Jefferson coming out of college, so I'm not too worried about that. And then at 103, we've got Jack's team, kind of solid all around. No super strong position group, so you can go either running back or wide receiver. I think you got to take Jahmyr Gibbs right here, second best running back on the board. Really good in the passing game. Going to be like an Alvin Kamara light for his team. 104, you've got Ryan Henning's team. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is where things kind of get a little bit. Things this is where kind of you can maybe start going some different ways. I think after those top three guys, this is a team that's got the best asset in the league. I think hands down. Maybe Bijan could be pushing for that here in a couple months, but right now I say Justin Jefferson is probably the most valuable thing you can have on your team. Um, I think behind that, depth at the there's maybe a little bit of the depth concern. You got Keenan Allen there, aging out a little bit. He can still play, obviously. Um, this guy's not the perfect prospect, but I think he's damn good. I think he's the sort of guy that if he hits his ceiling, he can command a Stephon Diggs like target share. Um, I think I want to go Jordan Addison here for him. Get another solid high tier wide receiver to throw in there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think Jordan Addison scares me less than Quentin Johnson does.
Yeah.
And then I think this team could really use another wide receiver. On to the fifth pick. That is your team. The way I see it right now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, running backs are pretty good. You got some good young wide receivers as well. John Dotson, Devonta Smith looking really good. I would be a little bit worried about Swift with Montgomery coming in and Alvin Kamara with whatever suspension he's eventually going to face. So I'm going to take another running back, Zach Charbonnet. I think he's just a pure runner. He's a Nick Chubb light. What are you thinking? Obviously, it's your pick, so you can override me on this one.
I like that one. I have, after Gibbs and Robinson go, I definitely have Charbonnet kind of in his own running back tier. I think there's a lot of running backs then that kind of just follow behind those three guys. And yeah, my team definitely this spring hasn't been pretty to my running back room, so I like that pick.
All right, you're at the 106. That is Quad T.
Quad T here. Um, So here we go with Tate's team. He's definitely got a handful of elite assets, but he's got a little bit, his depth is a little bit shaky. I think we kind of, I think tight end is actually kind of a wonky situation here. Gesicki going to New England, that's not really what I was hoping for him. I kind of had hopes that Gesicki might end up somewhere kind of nice, but I'm not so sure about that New England spot. Um, I'm going to actually go, I'm going to kind of take a shot here. I know you're not supposed to take tight ends this early. We never know, but give me Michael Mayer here. I think he's one of the best tight end prospects we've seen in recent years. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
that?
I definitely don't disagree with you there. Tight end's definitely the biggest concern on Tate's team. Um, it is a little early to get a tight end. I'm not exactly with you on the Mike Gesicki thing. I think he's finally on a team that's not going to ask him to block, which is, one of his biggest weaknesses. So when he's on the field, it's going to be passing downs only. But getting a young stud at tight end here doesn't really hurt. For you, then, I mean, I would have to go Quentin Johnson. You can let me know if you are not that big of a believer. I don't really believe in him that much. As a prospect, he screams, Jalen Rager type. They went to the same school, obviously, but just athletic guy who can't seem to quite figure out the question or the catching aspect of the wide receiver position. He definitely scares me. But where are you thinking with your second pick in the first round?
Yeah, I think Quentin Johnston or John, I don't know if he's got the T, but I think it's a silent T, which is kind of weird. I have him kind of in that tier with Jordan Addison because I think there is a little bit of a fall off at wide receiver after Quentin Johnston. I kind of think you have to just take him and hope for the best because I think there is a world where Quentin Johnson kind of commands a lot of high value targets, kind of like a Mike Williams sort of situation. Um, but yeah, he's also Jalen Rager like, where he's got some size and he went to the same school as him, and seems like he's also got a low floor. So, but overall, I think you can take him there. I think that's a fine pull.
And what do you have for Matt's second pick with the 108?
Yeah, with the 108, let's see, who's he got at QB? He's got Tua and he's got Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's got Jay, yeah. And who we took JSN second overall for this team, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got him a wide receiver. I don't think we need to dip into Zay Flowers yet or Josh Downs if you're a little bit crazy like that. I think take a solid pick. You've got some good pieces right now. I think this is a team that can. Well, actually, I think this is a team that can kind of win, that can kind of bounce back. Um, and so I don't know if I kind of want to say quarterback, but I don't know. You know what? Give me Zay Flowers. Let's throw a guy in there. I kind of like him. He was highly productive in college. Seems like a smart guy. Kind of Marquise Brown like, not very big in stature, but can kind of get those highly efficient targets down the field. Give me him. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean the board really broke perfectly for my second pick in the first round. I want to leave with at least one young wide receiver, and I am a firm believer in Josh Downs. I think he is better Zay Flowers as a prospect. They've got similar stats, similar everything. They're both very small. Think prototypical slot receiver in the NFL. The only difference being Zay Flowers worked more as an X in college. He didn't line up in the slot as much, but I think production wise, body wise, Josh Downs, he is very similar to Zay Flowers, and he's an early commit or early declare, unlike Zay Flowers. So you get a year younger there. So this broke perfectly for me. I would love to get Josh Downs in the 109. What about you in the 110?
I think at this point, looking at my roster, I've taken care of wide receiver, I've taken care of running back up to this point. Just give me CJ Stroud. Don't need to overthink it too much. Take care of three most important positions and have a solid start to the draft.
Yeah,
Not
this
much.
is where I think you can start playing the board though, with Ev and myself moving up next. I don't think either of us are taking a quarterback, so you could take your position group of choice there, and then at the 201, most likely still get the QB that you wanted. CJ Stroud, he is my quarterback one in this draft. I think he's the most polished, highest ceiling floor combo. Um, Obviously, the highest ceiling being Richardson out of Florida, but definitely the lowest floor out of the top three guys. At the 111, I don't like this spot for Everett's team. We can pull up what he's got. He's got a really solid quarterback. He's got some really good running backs, and a very young and productive wide receiver core. So he can really go anywhere. Uh, in my original look at this mock draft, I didn't see a tight end going earlier, so I actually thought that he would be in position to draft a tight end here. But and I'm not a believer in A chain at all. Um, I think I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby here. A little bit of a reach, but he's a very productive runner in college. Just overall a great prospect and just an athletic freak. I think Tank Bigsby can translate his skills to the next level. Then at 12, that kind of let's hear what you think of what I should do at 12, and then I'll let you know what I want to do.
All right. Can you pull up your team one more time?
Yep.
And
We've added
and so
Bijan to this team, and we've added Josh Downs to this team.
we've added Josh Downs and Bijan. You
There's loading my
know,
bench.
I mean, like the quarterback room is solid. It's not without question. I think you could consider. I mean, you got your picks. When's your next pick after this one?
210.
210. Yeah, so you're not going to be getting Anthony Richardson. I'm thinking that like Anthony Richardson could be good for your team more so maybe than Bryce Young because then in my opinion, I would say that Anthony Richardson has a higher ceiling than Bryce Young. Um, Maybe a much lower floor, but I think with your team, maybe you look for the ceiling.
He's got
Uh,
league winning potential, which I don't think Bryce does. Bryce has
yeah,
a floor that is going to get you maybe top eight season every single year, but Richardson really has that league breaking ceiling. Um, I was not thinking quarterback at all. I'm thinking running back. If you take a look
yeah.
at my team, I've got two stud running backs with Bijan and Brees. But if someone goes down, my next backup is Samaje Perine. So I'm hammering running back here. I do not believe in Devin A. Chain whatsoever. So I'm going to take Sean Tucker um, at the 112. 201, what I was thinking for you is this is where you would take your quarterback because I don't think anything gets taken between 110 and 112. Um, One guy I really like for you is Dalton Kincaid. I know you've got Chig and you're a big believer in Chig, but this gives you another young tight end to possibly, crack that top four tight end that you really want. Um, so that's what I was thinking for you. Tell me what you're thinking at the 201.
Yeah, definitely eyeing Dalton Kincaid. Um, I don't know if I like him at this spot. Um, I uh, I think Jalen Hyatt is a little bit overpriced at this point. Um, I think Zach. I'm kind of talking myself. I talk myself in and out of Zach Evans. Um, Obviously, my running back room is horrible. Given how this draft board has gone, you know what? Just give me Zach Evans, and I'm just going to hope for the best. I think he's got some good peripherals. I think he's a little bit of a. He seems like a little bit of a. I don't know what am I. I think he's a little bit ambiguous. Like there's a lot of stuff to like, but there's also some like major question marks. But why not shoot for the? Just give me him.
All right, so you're up again for Southpaw Skipper. That's Matt. You took JSN for him first, and then Zay Flowers second. What are you thinking now?
Well, we've got. So we passed up on taking a QB, and we've still got Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson on the board. Um, like, who's it? Do you have anyone else? QB. Let's see.
No, just
Tua.
Tua and him.
You got Tua and Dak. Um, I want to. Let's see. So we're pretty stacked. We're pretty stacked now at wide receiver after this draft.
Hmm.
Kind of coming in, we were in pretty good shape. Um, we've got an elite running back in Jonathan Taylor. Give me, uh, give me a Rich. Give me some upside. Shoot for the stars.
Yeah, and then that makes the 203 pretty easy for me. We're rocking Brock Purdy as our starting quarterback. We got Derek Carr, we got Baker Mayfield. We do not have anyone, above average at quarterback for Jack's team. So I'm just gonna take Bryce Young here at the 203. Just get the quarterback of the future, get the quarterback for this team. The 204, what are we looking at? That is
Uh,
Ryan Henning's team. He's got Fields still. He's got some running backs, and he's got a stacked wide receiver. And he took Jordan Addison in first.
um, I think at this point, Jalen Hyatt kind of stands out to me. I think that I don't think you really need Bryce Young, so I think Jalen Hyatt kind of stands out. He's
Yeah.
fast.
And then we're at the 205. Nathan Bogum, our league winner this year. He's got some aging running backs. He's got some young wide receivers. Who knows if you really believe in Gabe Davis? Amon-Ra is obviously that guy. He's got two tight ends, so we're not definitely not looking at Dalton Kincaid here. I'm gonna go with at the 205. Devin A. Chain is it just screams something Nate would do. Um, I'm actually gonna go with Tajay Spears. I really like Tajay Spears. His tape looks good. He's getting a lot of capital in mock drafts. I think that this is a good spot for him. 206, you've got who's the 206? Six. That is Tate again. And we took Michael Mayer for him in the first.
All right. So Tate tends to draft people that we make fun of, but then just smash anyway. So I'm gonna give him. Um, so I'm looking at Condre Miller. Kendre Miller is a guy that. Well, maybe Tate wouldn't draft this guy, but I love Condre Miller. Give me Condre Miller.
Yeah, big fan of him. He put up some really good numbers. He outproduced Zach Evans at TCU, made Zach Evans leave. I like him way better than Zach Evans. If both of them are on the draft board, I'm taking Kendre over Zach every day of the week. Um, really like that pick for Tate at the 107. I believe this is Brad's first pick. Yeah, Josh Allen, he's got his young running backs. Hopefully, Williams is able to come back from that injury. He's got his tight end locked up for the future, for better or worse. He's got some good wide receivers. Let's see what the board is saying. I don't hate Tillman. I think this is where we kind of just need to put in Devin Achane. He's going to be a guy who gets manufactured touches in the NFL. Um, he's just so small. So you got to worry about the injury risk, but his upside is there. Could be a Jamal Charles of the future. And he's being drafted like he's the Jamal Charles of the future. So I think his slide's done here, and we take him at the 207. You also got Brad Wagaman up here at the 208. What do you got for him there?
Uh, we took Devin A. Chain off the board now. He's kind of been hanging around. I'm gonna give me a wide receiver, but I'm actually gonna kind of scoot a little bit further down. I like this guy, Marvin Mims. Um, I think I think he actually kind of profiles a lot like Jalen Hyatt, but for some reason is being kind of forgotten about. And I think he has some field stretching ability that and he played at a big school. He played at Oklahoma, so I kind of like him. I've only just started my homework on him, but I think he's a good take right there.
Yeah, and so now we're up with Jake's first pick. This is his team. He's got Herbert, Eckler. Mixon, Eckler and Mixon, big question marks for the future. Wide receivers, he's got Diggs, Kirk. He's got Etienne also at running back, so probably good on running back. What wide receivers are we seeing? Rashee Rice, older guy out of SMU, really productive, and then Tillman, another senior. I like, very good route runner. Wasn't necessarily the most productive up until his final year, but definitely like a flyer here for Jake. And then at the 210, you got my team again. Um, After taking Bijan Robinson, Josh Downs, and Sean Tucker. What are you seeing here?
I'm a big fan of it seems kind of fun to pair two guys up that went to the same school. Give me Roshan. I think he's quite the prospect. He's a big dude. I feel like he can command some carries at the next level. Um, Maybe only a one or two down sort of guy, but maybe at this point in the draft, that's all you're looking for. And he's a guy you can kind of plug and play as you need. From
Completely
there.
agree. I like Roshan here. I think in almost any other backfield, he's the starter in college. Very, very productive when Bijan was off the field, and when they split Bijan out wide and kept Roshan in the backfield, he was very productive, good in pass protection. He's gonna see the field quite a bit in the NFL. At the 211, I think this felt perfectly for Ev. I think he kind of needs a tight end. Darren Waller obviously goes to New York. We'll see how much longer he's got in his career, how much more gas he's got left in the tank. But I think this is a perfect time to start developing one of the best tight end prospects we've seen in a while. A little bit more upside than Michael Mayer, definitely more downside. We're going to go with Dalton Kincaid here. And then at the 112 or 212, you want to finish off this mock draft with who you're taking there?
Yeah, I'm going to take a running back that I think is kind of a freak. Give me Israel Bandicando or whatever, a, a big banjo, however you say his name.
Israel
I think he's,
Abanikanda. He is
I
he
think
is legit.
I think he's legit. Yeah, I feel pretty good about taking him
Yeah,
the
and I
last
think this is
taking
this
this
is
one.
this is one of those picks that when draft rolls around and he gets, third round draft capital, he's not going to be here at the 212 when we're actually drafting. He's going to be a
Yeah.
late riser up draft boards. He's going to get, third round, maybe fourth round draft capital. He'll get drafted above, some of these guys, maybe Zach Evans, maybe Sean Tucker. Maybe teams don't believe in that Syracuse offense. Israel Abanikanda is definitely a huge riser. Are there any guys who have not been drafted in these first two rounds that you want to discuss?
Um, Honestly, like a lot of the names that I'm seeing, I'm not super high on. Like I have Reishi Rice and Keishawn Butte in the same tier, and I named that tier the like made out of hype tier. Like I think Reishi Rice has kind of turned into a hype guy, but I don't think there's really much substance to him from what I can tell at least. I think Chase Brown. I think he's a little bit of an older guy. Not sure I love that in my running backs. Darnell Washington is just kind of a funny sort of. He's just a massive freak of nature. But he wasn't even the best tight end on his team, so I don't know. I guess Will Levis is probably worth discussing because I
Yeah,
honestly
Will Levis, I don't believe in whatsoever.
I don't even
As a
think he was good in college. I don't even really get him at all.
and the comps are obviously going to be to Josh Allen, and that it's just a toolsy prospect that you hope can figure it out at the next level. I disagree with that because Josh Allen had more accuracy issues, which we're learning more and more can be fixed. Uh, Will Levis had decision making issues. He was never making the right decision, and he had accuracy issues on top of that. I don't believe in Will Levis. I'm fine with him scooting all the way down to the third round. I don't believe in him. Tyler Scott's another name that's rising up draft boards. He's just too handsome to draft at this point. I don't believe in pretty boys uh, in their work ethic. You talked about Keishawn Butte. Um, he he's going to get a shot in the NFL, but he's got attitude issues. He's had production issues in his final year at LSU. Not really believing in him. Chase Brown, another guy that's rising up draft boards. I don't see it. He wasn't necessarily the most productive. Had a really bad pro day. Not liking what Chase Brown has put out there, but I do like Rashee Rice. Very productive, very speedy. Um, Older guy, 22, coming into the league. But I think he can produce at the next level. Anyone else that's I love Xavier Hutchinson, his ability to grab the ball in space. His route running is very crisp. I really like him at the end of the third, middle of the third. Good value there.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that there are some. I think there's some good wide receiver value in the late rounds. I
yep.
agree.
I like Parker Washington a lot. He's like just a ball of energy out there. Not necessarily the most polished guy, but definitely like Parker Washington later in the draft. But I
Jaden,
think this is
Jaden
a
Reed's
what was that?
Jaden Reed out of Michigan State stands out to me as well. That was
Yeah,
another name
so
I just.
tons of value in the third round. But this was just a 2 round mock draft. I like what I got out of it in my draft of Bijan, Josh Downs, Sean Tucker, and Roshan Johnson. What do you think about your picks?
Uh, I kind of touched on a lot of positions. I would have loved to have come away with a tight end. I was one pick away from getting one at the very end, which would have been great for me. We'll see how maybe come draft day, like Everett is thinking that Darren Waller has another couple. Darren Waller's good enough to bridge him for the next couple of years. Um, or maybe Michael Mayer falls to me at some point. Obviously, in this one, I took him a little early just to kind of shake it up a little bit. I kind of think that Michael Mayer could climb up some draft boards. I feel like he's been kind of like steadily falling, and I think that's just because of like tight end scare. I don't know, man. He seems like a really good prospect. I like him a lot.
Yeah, when I first went through this draft and mock draft for myself, I got Michael Mayer to you at the 10. I thought that 106 was a little bit too early, but that was really the only Tate was the only one who could draft a tight end that early. So Michael Mayer falling to you. You had CJ Stroud in the second. I like this draft board. Obviously, you don't like Rashee Rice, but I like this draft for you a little bit better because you're able to get Michael Mayer and CJ Stroud. But we can switch this one for Izzy um, for you right there. Um, but but overall, I think you've got some nice picks in nice ranges and some nice tiers. Anything else before we log off for today's mock draft? Any other little tidbits or insights?
um, man, this is all going to go out it's going to be interesting to see how all of this completely gets rewritten after the draft. Um, I don't know any other names that stand out to you as ones that could just totally be revalued after the draft
Yeah,
for better numbers.
I do think landing spots are going to be massive for some of these running backs once you get past Gibbs and Robinson. Charbonnet, I really like his tape, but if the NFL sees him as, one dimensional, 3 down bruiser, uh, we could see, a Tank Bigsby, we could see a Kendre Miller, we could see if Devin Achane goes in the third round, which who knows? If he gets third round draft capital, he's going to be a first round pick. Um, do I believe in him? No. But and then another thing is this tier of wide receivers, Jalen Hyatt's going to be a first round pick. Whether we believe in him or not is up for question. So Josh Downs and Zay Flowers could move down draft boards if Jalen Hyatt ends up being a much higher pick than Josh Downs. Like if these guys go at the end of the second, he goes at the end of the first. You're gonna have to move Jalen Hyatt up draft boards even if you don't believe in him. I do. Oh, this is actually the mock draft we just did, but yeah. So Jalen Hyatt's gonna move even further up, but Tajay Spears is a name to watch. If he gets, significant draft capital, he's going to be moving up draft boards. And then you already talked about it, Izzy. Uh, if he gets the draft capital that we think he's going to get based on how mock drafts are currently trending, he's going to be, an early second, if not, a late first.
Wow, that'd be crazy if he gets first round. I mean, if one of those guys, if any of those guys gets like first round, even early second round capital, um, I think or like I think the market kind of understands that tier, even like including Charbonnet, is just kind of a whole crapshoot at this point. Like you can kind of go, even Condre Miller, I think could go pretty high too. I think teams could look at him a lot like they look at Kenneth Walker, a guy who's just mean and can just get going north and south and just pound his way in. I don't know.
Going into last year's draft, if you had all of the profiles of all of these guys, where do you think Kenneth Walker would be in this running back class? Not knowing that he, went off for the Seahawks this year, just as a prospect.
Well, I think he'd be in that tier with all those other guys. Like I think he'd be beneath. He definitely wouldn't be higher than Charbonnet because Charbonnet can catch the ball. So he'd be in that tier with all those other guys.
Yeah,
And
the Bigsby,
obviously,
Tucker, Evans, Spears, Miller, all of those guys are a crapshoot at this point. We'll just see
yeah.
what the NFL thinks of them and take it from there. So I think successful mock draft. We'll see what the boys think of who they got and take it from there.
All right.
Thanks for joining with me today. Was it Joe Kuiper and Ty McShay signing off after this mock draft? Have a good one, Joe.
Have a good one.
Peace.